everyone, welcome to Pai's Kitchen. As many of you know, I just came back from a trip to Japan, to Osaka, and if you haven't seen my vlogs on that trip, definitely check them out. There was so much good food, so much fun. I will link to them in the description box below. So one of the dishes that I fell in love with in Osaka was okonomiyaki, or what a lot of people like to call Japanese pizza. I think it's more of a Japanese pancake. But the thing is, it's actually really easy to make at home. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna share with you how you can bring Osaka into your home with okonomiyaki. All right, let's get started. So I'm gonna start with the batter. So let's deal with the dry ingredients first. So I have here just some all-purpose flour, and to that I'm going to add some cornstarch. And the cornstarch will actually help reduce the total amount of gluten, which will prevent the pancake from getting too tough. Also, I'm gonna add some baking powder. Give that a whisk with a large whisk and a sprinkle of black pepper. Now let's talk about the wet ingredients. There's a couple things you might not be familiar with if you've not cooked Japanese food before. The very first thing is something called nagaimo yam, okay? And it's this sort of gnarly looking thing right here. And you can find this at Japanese grocery stores. Even like my T&T, for those of you in Vancouver, carries this as well. So it's not as hard to find as you might think. And we'll talk about substitutes in a little bit. But I want to keep the plastic on because sometimes if you touch it with your bare hand, it can make your skin a little itchy. Now I'm just going to peel off about a couple of inches. And as you can see, it's very slimy. Now I'm going to grate this yam. And as you see, it becomes this even slimier substance. Yes, I know it does not look appetizing, but trust me, it makes a difference in the texture of the batter. This is what prevents the pancake from becoming dense and doughy. It'll keep the dough sort of luscious and soft and almost custardy on the inside. Now, if you don't have this, it's not a deal breaker. You can make okonomiyaki without it. I will go into more details about sort of the pros and cons and what you can use instead in the written recipe. If you have ideas for substitution, something that has worked for you in the past, definitely let us know in the comments below. And I'm just gonna do this, like just pile it on. It's super fun to work with. So our next liquid ingredient is actually dashi, which is a Japanese fish broth that's made from kombu seaweed and dried bonito flakes. But most home cooks just use a dashi powder, which is very convenient. You can find it at grocery stores, Asian grocery stores. The inside looks like little granules, like that. And all you have to do is just mix this in some plain water and you've got your dashi instantly. Into the flour mixture. And I'm just gonna stir this until it's mixed. Don't overmix it. You don't want tough, doughy pancakes. Now, ideally, you wanna let this rest for at least half an hour. You can leave this overnight and finish the whole thing tomorrow if you'd like, but that rest period will allow the gluten to relax and further softening and tenderizing our pancake. Okonomiyaki means to grill whatever you want, basically. So all of these things that I'm adding are very classic, but you can feel free to add whatever you want to this batter. But definitely one thing that is common all across Osaka-style okonomiyaki is cabbage. Okay, so I've got here lots and lots of cabbage that I've chopped. Now, it's gonna look like way more than you need, but trust me, this is what keeps it tender. It will prevent the pancake from being all doughy and floury. And then lots of green onions. And in terms of protein, I want to add shrimp, but you can add whatever you want. If you're going to do chicken or pork, what I would do is cook it off first. Then you don't have to worry about whether it's cooked inside the pancake. I know because the pancake's really thick. Shrimp cooks so quickly, so I don't ever have to worry about that. Now, I'm also going to add pickled ginger. So this hot pink thing right here is called beni shoga. And it's not the same ginger that comes with your sushi, okay? That's a sweet pickle. This is not sweet at all. It's a spicy, sort of tart, salty kick that'll help balance out all the rich flavors in here. I'm going to add what's called tenkatsu. It's basically deep fried tempura batter bits, okay? And what it's gonna do, now it's crunchy, kind of like a Rice Krispie right now, but when you add it in there, it's not gonna keep it crispy because it won't last, the crispiness won't last in the batter, but it will add pockets of air. This will prevent the pancake from being super dense. And of course, we've gotta add a couple of eggs. And I didn't get to do this when I was in Osaka, but sometimes you go to a restaurant, you get to cook the okonomiyaki yourself, and then it'll come to you in a bowl like this with the batter on the bottom and all the little fillings on top, and you get to stir it and then cook it. Point though is you don't want to mix this and then just kind of let it sit and hang out, because these tenkatsu pieces will just kind of like disintegrate in your batter. So you want to mix and then cook it right away. Ooh, this is my favorite part of the whole thing. And what do you like to put in your okonomiyaki? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. And that's it. How easy is that, right? So I've got a flat skillet here. I'm gonna preheat it to about medium heat. You don't want this to be too hot because the batter is quite thick. Ooh. Now you can make this as big or as small as you like, as long as you can flip it. Here we go. And try to keep it round. And definitely you don't want to hear an aggressive sizzle when you put down the batter, because that's your cue that it's too hot. Now I like to keep mine about this size, 5-6 inches. 1, because it's easy to flip. 2, because I find any more than that, it's just too much for me. Like this is a good dinner size right here. A lot of times people like to put slices of pork belly on top. So in North America, it's hard to find slices of plain pork belly, but it's not hard to find bacon. So that's what I'm gonna do, and it happens to be really delicious. I mean, why not put some bacon on it, right? Yeah, and then when we flip it, it will get nice and grilled. There we go. So this, in my experience, let it go slow and low, about 4 to 5 minutes per side. Woo! Beautiful! Bacon sizzle. Let's see what it looks like on the underside. Woo! Look at that. Now, what I did the first time I flipped, this is actually the second time I flipped it. The first time I flipped, I noticed that the bacon was peeling away a little bit, so I just put extra batter right there to glue it down. So if you remember, maybe when you place the bacon down, just put a little extra batter on top to help glue it down so it doesn't come off. But that is it. So if you want to check if the inside is done, you can do a toothpick test. Another thing that I like to do is do a heat test. So I take a fork or a knife or something, and I poke it in the middle and I let it sit there, you know, for a few seconds. Then I take it out and I put it, that's hot. So if it's hot, then it's cooked. There you go. I mean, don't touch it too long. Don't burn yourself. All right, so I'm gonna flip it back because I think this side is prettier. And let's finish it. We are now at the most important step of making okonomiyaki, and that is to finish it with 4 toppings. These 4 toppings are so core to the character of okonomiyaki that if you just have cabbage and batter, but you've got these 4 things, you're still good to go, okay? So first and very important is the okonomiyaki sauce, which comes in a bottle in a bag, as the Japanese like to do it, like this. Now you could make your own, but seriously, most Japanese people just use this sauce, and in order to stay true to the flavor, I would stick with the store-bought. Gonna put some of that on. Careful, it comes out quicker than you think. First time I was like, bah! Just put about this much, and if you feel it needs more, you can add more later. The second most important is, well, not second, the other most important is Japanese mayonnaise, commonly known as Kewpie mayo. This also comes in a bag, which I don't have anymore. Do not use American mayonnaise for this. It is so not the same. Make sure you get yourself some Japanese mayo and really load it on. Yeah. Next is something called aonori. It's basically Japanese seaweed crushed into little tiny pieces, and I have just put it in a sprinkler bottle here, and I'm just gonna, woo! Yes, it's a tiny little shaker bottle, so you gotta be patient. It's the price of tiny things. There we go. This one you gotta have. It's something called katsuobushi or bonito flakes. This is a key ingredient that's in the Japanese dashi stock. The flakes are of various sizes. For toppings like this, I like to get the ones with larger flakes like that, so it looks a little prettier and it's a nice smoky fish flavor. Oh yes. If your pancake is hot, the steam will start to make the flakes dance, which is not doing as much right now because I waited too long getting ready to shoot this thing. Woohoo! And now you've got yourself Okonomiyaki. Oh, yes. Oh, just want to show you the inside. It should be packed with cabbage, so it's not doughy and dense. Oh no, this piece doesn't have any bacon. Get a little bacon on there. It is such a Japanese flavor. Like there is no other cuisine that even approximates that combination of flavor. It's sweet and salty and just full of umami, a lot of fish flavor from the katsuobushi and from the dashi as well. Wow, and the texture, again, this should not be doughy or dense. It should be soft with a lot of texture going on inside and luscious and This is so good and it's so easy. It might take you a couple of times to perfect the texture, but trust me, it will be delicious. I hope you give this a try. The recipe, as always, will be on paiskitchen.com. And when you make it, send me a photo on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And make sure you watch my Osaka video to see what the original okonomiyaki that I had in Osaka looked like. The link to that is in the description below. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you do so you don't miss an episode, and click that little bell icon as well so you get a notification every time I post a new video. If you love the show and you want to support us, check out our Patreon link in the description below, and I will see you next time for your next delicious adventure.